What can I do for you, gentlemen?
You the guy with the Van Halen ticket?
That could be.
How much you want for something in the first 10 rows?
$20 a piece.
Those tickets are only $12.50.
But I'm buying.
Here's my favorite band, Van Halen.
Guns N' Roses, AC/DC,
Iron Maiden,
Metallica,
Motley Crue,
Def Leppard,
ZZ Top,
Alice Cooper.
Listen, gentlemen, I perform a service here.
Here we go again.
Don't keep the audience waiting. Are you ready for this?
Are you ready for this? That is the question. I am Top Jimmy. This is Jam Session Live, episode 146. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's a pretty special show. Got some friends I'm going to be bringing on in a minute. I wanted to give you some background on kind of how we got here. If you guys have been listening to the show, you've met me at a show or 2 or 10, right? Music is a huge part of my life. That's why I started Jam Session Radio. And like many of you, right, we look forward to meeting up with music family, getting back together. Some of the events happen once a year. I'm talking Monsters of Rock Cruise. I'm talking things that happen every 2 years, you know, Monsters on the Mountain. And then there's that weekend that we have all looked forward to for so many years, the M3 Rock Festival weekend. It has been a part of my life ever since it started. I lived in the Baltimore area in 2009. My wife and I went to the very first M3 Rock Festival. It was super cool. It was one day. It grew. It expanded. It took a little bit, but we started to build a family. We met so many cool people, so many cool folks that got there. And every year, everyone's looking forward to when's the announcement, who's going to play, what's going on. And there was a lot of that this past year, right? And so finally, as is kind of typical, around the beginning of December, the folks at M3 kind of wake up and they start saying, hey, we're going to be posting soon. We're going to be posting. And you kind of get that anticipation. You're like, oh my gosh, right? They're going to make an announcement. I can start to imagine the weekend, right? The past couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, it's been, hey, I know that Thursday night, right, I'm going to be able to go rock out at Dave Dillman's M3 party. And then Friday night, right, there's going to be a Friday night show. Saturday, I'm going to rock my ass off. Sunday, I'm going to rock my ass off. And Monday, I drag my tired but happy, content ass back home. So what does M3 do? M3 posts their announcement. And what does it look like? It looks nothing like what we expect. It's one day. Only one day. Forget who's on the bill, whether you like who's on the bill, whether you don't like who's on the bill. It's one day. And so we're sitting there going, what the hell just happened? Right? I have this whole weekend where I'm going to hang out with friends and rock out and make new friends, right? That's probably just as important as hanging out with the friends you have, right? Is making new friends, growing that family, growing that circle. And I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, okay, Dave did his announcement. We knew that, right? We've got a solid M3 party. He didn't announce them all at once, right? Dave drops them out. He announced the first band he announced was The Last Sin. Super cool, brand new group here out of North Carolina. I've seen them. Good show. You guys are in for a great show with them. So, okay, Dave's doing his thing. M3 does his thing. But I start looking at my calendar and what's in my head, right? I know Will Mass with Beautifully Broken has said, hey, we're going to do something like we have before, right? On Thursday night, come up to the studio, something Thursday night. And then he's going to do his pre-gathering on Friday and Dave on Friday night. And then M3 is just Saturday and Sunday. What the fuck? I got this big gaping hole in my whole weekend. What the hell am I going to do? Shit is not right with the world. I'm looking at it and I'm going, man, Sundays were really great when we had something like Sleazy Slimy Sunday. So this is the post that kind of went out and maybe just a little bit put something out there into the universe that floated around and leads us to tonight, a special event announcement. I'm going to bring a couple of good friends on and we're going to talk about what's going on. Here we go, guys. I bring you Bradley from Beyond Live Entertainment, Will Mass from Beautifully Broken Records. What is going on, brothers?
What's happening?
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
And thank you guys for coming on. Thanks for reaching out and saying, hey, would like to be on the show, and you guys are, all my friends are welcome.
Well, I mean, we was enough to put that post out there, you know. So figured we'd be ballsy enough to give you the exclusive. You kind of deserve it. You were the first one to wake from the dead, so to speak.
Right. For those that were listening, I did not pick it by hand. It's just, you know, I kind of put in my my spin on stuff, and the system picked Hailstorms Back from the Dead. And folks remember, right? Folks, if you've been in the scene for a while at M3, you remember Sundays were sleazy, slimy Sunday for a while. My wife and I were kind of late to the scene, but you know, so we only got really to attend the last one. But oh my gosh, we were blown away, and then we saw so many things that Brad was associated with, and you know, we live in North Carolina at the moment. And there were bands from North Carolina. The first time we saw them, right, was what an event that that Brad put on, which is kind of wild. And then there's Will, right? Will's been doing the pre-gathering for 3 years now, right? Some great bands in the local area, some great bands out of Philly. I mean, the guys, you know, blow me away all the time.
Appreciate it. We you know, doing these little shows that, you know, Dave's been doing obviously since the beginning of M3. I threw my hat in the pre-party thing a couple years ago. This will be year number 4. Your intro, like you were talking about, you know, when the announcement came out and it was one day, we all kind of went, well, what the hell's this?
Right.
So, you know, we've talked before. Brad and I have talked before. We've both made posts in M3 Rockers talking about, hey, look, if this festival's coming to an end or whatever, there's ample people in the area to be able to put something together. And we kind of decided, why wait?
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciate it. Right? It's you know, the thing kind of draws out. There are so many people that are so. This is a big part of their lives. This is a big part of their year. You know, it's more than just a weekend to these folks. It's family, and it's like, wait a minute. So I have less opportunity to hang with my family. What's going on? And there's a few. I spotted a couple like Tracy and Tomcat. They're like, hey, we're traveling down from. I think they're in New York. We're traveling down. We planned on staying through Sunday anyway, just in case. And it's like, exactly, smart thing. And we kind of did the same thing on the calendar. It's like, okay, we're going to book the hotel through just in case.
That's right. Manifest it. It'll happen.
Exactly. Right. Make it happen. And right. I wasn't overtly trying to like call anybody out. I was kind of like reminiscing and missing. It's like, oh my God, right? Is the perfect thing to go right here in this hole, right? Is a show. And the cool part is, right, it's like, it's the two of you guys coming together. I'm trying to point on the screen, and I'm not coordinated enough to point.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Right? It's like the Brady Bunch boxes. And the two of you guys coming together, right, and deciding, hey, let's join forces and deliver something to the folks.
I'm going to let Brad take this one.
I mean, it's been something we've been wanting to do for a long time. I mean, ever since the early days of CZ, Will's always been a driving force behind what we do, whether he knows it or not. He's one of the early ones that were to come forward and offer his assistance behind the scenes to make sure everything ran smooth. He's going to tell you that he did it because he admired what I was doing. But I'm going to tell you that I appreciate what he was doing. I would be amiss to say, and Lord forgive me for speaking out of tone right here. It hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows with me and Will. I mean, there's been times where we've been crossed, we haven't agreed on it. We still don't. Right. You know, he does his way, I do my way. I think that we're both trying to accomplish the same goal, though, and that's the important part. The way that I operate, and we've been doing business in the past, we try and evolve and change things and see what's and what fans want ultimately. But you know, Bill has a belief system. I have a belief system. A lot of ways it's the same, and in some ways it's different. But I think that us coming together as two independent, and I want to stress that word on independent voters that believe in not only local, not only regional, but national talent as well. I think it's important for the Maryland entities, whether they are local here in Maryland or if they're traveling from different states, spending their hard-earned money to come to a festival. It's important for them to know that the dates of people that are viewed as competitors that work together and come together for we can get the job done. And especially music, because music is something that's supposed to unite people, not divide people.
Right.
So it only makes sense. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't. I was planning to do a beat and skip embryo. Like, hey, let's take a year off. I mean, we've been free for what 15, 16 years now.
Right.
So to take some time for us and just away from that and just do something a little bit different. That's kind of the way we were looking. And my phone rang. It was just devil back in.
Yeah, he was sitting comfortably at home on the couch, and I reached out to him and I said I made a mention about Sunday, and he said, "Well, let's talk about it." And we hooked up one night and started having a discussion. Of course, like we always do, we start out with life and just how each other's doing and all that stuff. And then I think before I even started getting heavy into the conversation, he whips out his notebook and his pen and throws it down on the table and he goes, "All right, what are we looking at here?" And I was like, "I got it."
I mean, if the notebook didn't work, I was just going to pull out a knife and cut through the 7 layers of bullshit. You were trying to like small talk me the whole night. Like,
Right.
I know why I'm here, dude. Let's just get to it. You know what I mean?
Let's get to the point.
We already had our pleasantries. Let's get to why we're really here. Because we both got families to get on to. And,
Yeah.
Our missus wants home these days. So.
Right.
And they knew what we were up to because we have to, in order for things like this to work, man, we have to keep our spouses involved and
Oh yeah.
People say all the time, it's like, "Well, I don't need anybody. Well, yeah, you can do your thing, on your own, but when you can let the people you trust most in your life in on what you're doing, I mean, it's no different from you with Jam Session. It's like this is something you wanted to do, and I'm sure you guys talked about it before you even jumped into it right away. There's always discussion. So, when we first started talking, we both wanted to make sure that both families were on board. You know what I mean? Especially me dragging his ass back into this because, I was terrified. I told him, I said, "Make sure Angie knows it's my idea. My fault. I brought you back into this because I didn't, I got to put blame where blame lies."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't be, like he said, we've wanted to kind of work together for a long time. You got to remember, Brad was one of the initial people, along with me and a bunch of others, that started to ignite the scene. And that's kind of where I was like, all right, well, at some point, he and I are going to do something. We're going to make it happen. And he said, me coming to Sleazy's and the shows that he was doing, I'm going to tell you right now, I did it, number one, because I respected him as a person when I first met him. And I was just like, two, I can learn a lot from what he's already doing. And, that was kind of my whole goal was I'm going to just stay behind the scenes and watch him, and watch this one, and watch the stage manager, and watch. So, I mean, it was a fountain of an education for me. And Brad's always just been super cool. He's like, "All right, I'll put you to work." Not a problem.
Right.
So it was about time, and now's the time, man.
I mean, like, there's no need for secrets. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're developing a special sauce recipe or something where we have this secret ingredient. There are some things that work tremendously well with BLE. Previously, Bradley Entertainment, which it is not no more for obvious reasons for anybody that knows me or knows the back scene of all the stuff that was going on, and that's might have to pull me in for another show. We're not going to get into that, but no, it wasn't just me. I mean, it was a lot of people that made it work. A lot of people that devoted their time, their efforts, gave up some of their home life, gave up finances, gave up whatever they needed to make it work because they believed in what we were doing. And, I'll die on this sword that what we did was different than a lot of people because we kind of pulled the curtain back and let the everyday person that was coming to events kind of see how it was done and how and what it takes, because it can't be one or two companies doing it. Like, you have to have an army and a village and people to kind of write the process of how this stuff is done, in order to do it correctly. And I'm not saying everything we did was correct, but I'm saying that, a lot of things that we did more correct than we did wrong. And it's a learning process. I mean, there's no book you can buy to tell you how to really promote a show properly.
Right.
I mean, it's ever changing. It changes, and it changes with the time and the technology, and the artists are changing on an hourly basis at times. The genres are changing. The way music is consumed is changing. The way it's recorded is changing. Everything changes, So if you don't roll with the punches and have people to really understand that it's a constant work, a lot of people think all they got to do is hit the share button on Facebook and their show's promoted. I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. I'm not going to mince words over it. Like, it annoys me when people call themselves a promoter and they're not even at the fucking show they're promoting. Like, it literally bothers me.
Oh yeah.
Or you go to a show, and I'm not going to mention names, and this isn't going to be a bashing session either, but Will's facial expression will tell you everything you need to know. You go to shows with people that are promoting the show, and they're fucking got fucking liquor to their mouth all fucking night, or they got beer in their mouth all night, and they're half sloshed before the second fucking band hits the stage. That's not the way to do things, in my personal opinion. I'm not here to tell you how to run your business, but that's not the way to do things, because in the eye of the public, it looks bad. You know what I mean? And to me, that's not the way to run things. I've always admired the way that Will's been doing his shows, his pre-gathering, just like Dave Dillman. I mean, I don't want to turn the light off of Dave. Dave's been selling out M pre-parties since the beginning of M3. And he is on this kick that this might be the last M pre-party. I'm here to tell you, we're going to find a way to keep him around as long as we can. I think it's good for business, and it's good for the Maryland music scene. I mean, we get a chance to have this festival weekend once a year, and there are other things going on in Maryland. Don't get me wrong. There's other festivals. There's stuff in Ocean City and other things going on. But at the same time, on an independent level, people that really care about, the artist's best interest and the fans' best interest, and are here to create value for the people that are willing to pay their money for these events, are few and far in between. And anybody that's on that path or that has that belief system, we want to keep them around as long as possible. So,
yeah. Because I think you're right? Because I try and keep an eye on what's going on musically. Obviously, in where I am, being from Maryland, being in North Carolina now, but checking other areas, and it's like I literally can think of one other similar, like, not put on by the Live Nations and all those kind of people event that is recurring, that draws people back all the time, right? And it's like you said, they are few and far between. There are things where there is a show somewhere, but for there to be something like that ecosystem that has grown up around M3, right? That's not something that happens every day. That's not something that happens every decade, right? It is a very rare thing. So the fact that you guys are stepping out there and keeping things going, I admire that greatly. And I will, like you said, I will die telling people, right? Go to the smaller things that you don't know about. Imagine how many bands, and not to bash the big names, right? But these days, when the big name bands are going to cost you $300, $400 a ticket, right? Imagine how many smaller bands you can go see and buy their merch and help them hone their craft, right, for that amount of money. If I'm going to spend $1,000 on some big, huge band, travel out of town and stay in a hotel overnight because they're playing the big stadium down wherever, I could see tons of smaller bands. I could do an M3 weekend and another weekend. I could go out and buy merch, from the local folks that are just trying to get started. And I think that's one of the other things is you guys focus on, I know you guys have not only pulled in the past, like, names people recognize, but folks that people don't recognize. But when they leave the show, they're like, I'm glad I saw them. I'm glad I know about the, insert name here, right now. And I think that's a cool thing. And that's one of the things where I've been like, okay, these guys pick some good bands. You know, it's like we know who's on M3, we know who's on Dave Dillman, and we kind of know somewhat who's out of the country. It's like,
There's a lot of music out there, especially local regionally to us. Let's call it the Mid Atlantic region. And I think that we've had discussions about this before. All of us, Maryland specifically, has always been a hotbed of blues infused rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
The bands that are M3 labeled bands, those bands toured through here constantly back in the day. You know what I mean? And between here, Philly, New York, and they were hitting all the stops. So I mean, you had an opportunity. We still always seem to have opportunities when somebody starts touring. It's like, well, shit, I can catch 3 shows in 1 week. You know what I mean? Because of proximity.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot to be said about the local talent here because of that. I think there's you've got bands like, American Jet Set is one of the bands that's on Dave's pre-party. They are definitely a Baltimore band. You can hear it. Jim, you're from here. There's a certain tone that a lot of guitar players in the Mid-Atlantic region use that is specific to our area. It just is. Like you'll hear a riff and you're like, that's a Baltimore boy playing that damn riff. Like you just know. You know what I mean? We've been spoiled like that. And
it's that poverty passion, man. It's that poverty passion, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it's there's a lot of really cool bands still in this area that are in that old school 80s vein, but also very much, with a newer flavor kind of kicked in, and contributing to that music. There was a guy that has a YouTube channel, I forget his name now, Rick Beazle or something like that.
Yeah.
He said a couple years ago, and one of the things he did, somebody asked him, what's the problem with new music? And he said 2 things: the overuse of auto-tune and the lack of blues in the music. And I firmly believe the latter, especially, is a big thing. When you lose that root, everything starts sounding muffled and the same and very repetitive. And that's not true hard rock, and true rock and roll is not in that fashion. There's that blues is the root. And without it, it just kind of doesn't hold the room. You know what I mean? And I think, that I've been pretty good with trying to find local regional talent in the shows that I do. And, I was surprised myself sometimes where I've like just seen a band and I'm like, well, they kind of sound good. And I always try to go see a band live before I try to book them, because that's just, you can send me all the tape you want. I want to see you live. I want to see it raw and in person for myself. There's been 1 or 2 occasions where I've gotten lucky and I'm just like, you know what? They sound really good. I'm going to go ahead and book them. And those are the ones where I kind of surprise myself. I'm like, well, damn. It's like they're even better live than that CD was. You know what I mean? And those are, I think a big part of like what I do. And I think one of the things that both Brad has done in his shows and I've done in mine is we very much try to incorporate a family atmosphere as far as how we treat each other, how we interact with each other during the show. Doing little giveaways and little things. They're not huge, but they add to the element, you know what I mean? And you're happy when the guy next to you wins the signed guitar, just because, you don't know him, but you've been sitting here having a good time with him for 2.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's a good thing. Huh?
Behind his head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That's one from Philly, right? I was eyeing up each one of those cups going, let's see. Okay. Let me get a handful of tickets and drop them in this one. And, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. It sits behind me. As a matter of fact, I got a whole bunch of stuff behind me and just to commemorate, right? This music makes me happy. And I think music makes a lot of people happy. And the memories that I make from it, I can think back on it, the memories pop up in Facebook or, on your phone and whatever, popping you like on this day, whatever. And it's just like, there is never a time where I go to a live event, especially one that you guys do, and I go, "Man, that sucked. I wish I had not gone." Right? It's the flip, right? It's like, "Holy cow, like, this was amazing," or even if the bands and this isn't on you guys' show, even if I go to a show and the band is, right? Usually there's some folks that I'm there and to meet up with, right? And we have some killer ass conversation, or we talk about, it's just the whole experience is something that I wish more people would just get out and do, right? It's the shows, are, again, I was going back, they're relatively inexpensive, right? I mean, if I'm going to spend $400 to see a Metallica or a Megadeth or somebody, right? What can I do with that $400? I could go to a local show. I could buy a T-shirt from every band, right? Help them get to the next place, because that's one of the things that I guess I didn't realize until I started going to you guys' shows and getting to know some of these folks a little better, right? The term starving artist, definitely applies to musicians. These folks are out there literally, some are like literally, "Hey, I signed on to do some shows with, so and so, but like we got to cover all the gas, we got to cover all of that, we got to cover all that. All we kind of got was a spot to perform, right? They're not getting a bunch of money,
Right.
they're out there doing it because they love it. And you guys, I kind of get the feeling, right? You guys are doing what you do, right? Because you love to share that with others. And
look, there's a couple different reasons why we do it. Like, I have my reasons. I'm sure Will has his reasons, just like everybody that attends the show has their reasons why they attend the show, right? They're trying to get away from their 9 to 5 or their home life, or music just kind of sets their soul free. Whatever their reasons are, I've heard just about all of them, I think. But the reasons why I like to do it is because it creates value. A lot of people will complain about certain prices, right? So let's break that down for a minute. Let's say you take a $45 show. There's 5 bands on. Easy math is $9 a band, right? Each band performs for 45 minutes. Break that down. It's like, if you charge it by a minute, it's less than a fucking phone call.
Mhm.
Less than what your wireless, companies are charging you for cell phone service, and you're bitching.
Right.
And majority of the people I see bitching are bitching because they don't know who the bands are. Well, number one, they don't know who the fuck you are either. And number two, any band, I don't care who it is, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, you name any band that everybody on the face of the earth knows, there was a point in time where you heard them for the first fucking time.
Yeah.
So how are you for certain without any fucking degree of fucking separation that this band that you're seeing for the first time, everybody thinks it's so cool when everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I was at Kiss's first show." Well, you could be that if you give these fucking bands a chance.
Yeah.
You could be that person that could talk about, "Hey, I was at," name a band that you've never seen before that's on a roster coming up at a show. Go see that band. That could be the next big thing. You just don't know. You're ready to write somebody off simply because you haven't heard of them before.
Right.
I mean, like, to me, that's ridiculous, especially if you consider yourself to be a music connoisseur or a music enthusiast. That's absolutely ridiculous. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing the artist a disservice. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'll probably never get it. But the same people will spend, and I'm not trying to throw names out there, but let's just do it. Fuck it. The same people will spend $250 to go get, a drop of Bret Michaels sweat on them by shaking his hand.
Right. Right.
But you'll take that and invest your money in that versus paying to see a band that you've never seen before that could quite possibly set your world on fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the other part, right, is you get to interact with them. I'm like, maybe you'll get to interact with a Bret Michaels type person, but a couple of weeks ago, I went and saw 3 bands. It was $10, right? Playing at a local gig, 3 live bands for $10.
And
I mean,
that's another thing. It's the intimacy. It's the intimate experience. Like, you get to be, it's an intangible. You can reach out and touch it. You're not sitting up in the nosebleeds. You know what I mean? Like, I was looking at George Strait tickets.
Yeah.
Fucking $800 for nosebleeds. And I'm like, I would love to see George Strait again, but I'm not paying $800.
Yeah. We were the same way.
Just not,
Yeah.
That is what it is. That's why it's King George, right? But too rich for my blood. But but yeah, I mean, you're getting this intimacy, and anybody that could be watching or might catch wind of this that has never been to one of mine or Will's shows before, I ask that you go to it, and if you're totally dissatisfied, come see me. Number one, we'll discuss it, figure out what it is that you're really truly unsatisfied about, because I would like to know, because I'd like to fix it. And secondly, I want to know because I'd like to refund your money. Like, and that's not to say that I'm just going to be refunding everybody's money at the door. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're truly dissatisfied to where you feel like we didn't put our best effort forward and the artists on the building put their best effort forward, come see me. You know what I mean? Because I need that information to make us better going forward. And to find out exactly what it is. Maybe I'm out of touch with what the people attending these shows want to see. I mean, I think I have a pretty good idea, but there's nobody that's going to complain for a $45 ticket to see 5-6 bands. And if you do, I venture to say that it's something else that's creating that problem.
Right.
By all means, we try and create value. We try and fit within the budget of everybody. I know everybody's got different budgets. I'm not here to knock anybody for, their financial struggles or whatever. I know some people don't have it. And if you don't have it, quite frankly, I would like for you to wait until you're in a better situation where you can prioritize one of our shows and enjoy it 100% to where you can spend money at merch. You can have a good time with your friends and eat and drink like you would normally. If you're on a shoestring budget, this probably isn't the time for you, and you probably have other priorities where, quite frankly, you should be spending your money. And I'm not here to hijack anybody's money if they truly can't afford it. You know what I mean? For the people that can afford it, and the people I know that make decent money, and they go out to all these different shows, because I see how many people post about them. All we're simply trying to do with this show, and Will, correct me if I'm wrong, is create value and extend the weekend for people that don't want to go home just yet and want to say some goodbyes to their friends and have a good damn time doing it. That's what we're.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, we didn't, none of us, including you too, Jimmy, nobody got into this business and said, well, we're going to go make some money. No, we got into it because we love music.
Right.
We love our music family. We want to do things, that they will want to come and see. And, Brad has said this before. It's like, he got into it because he got tired of watching his friends that were in bands get screwed over. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing from my standpoint. It's there's not a band that I've put on any of my shows that doesn't get paid something. Okay. I mean, even going down to Bendy Q, we told everybody with Bendy Q from the get-go, from the first year we did that, it was like, look, we're not charging anybody anything, but bring money to shove in those tip jars.
Right.
And buy these bands merch. And I mean, we have bands showing up with merch and, they're walking out with $300 in their tip jar. That's just for one of the bands that was playing. Everybody's just throwing money in there. And then they make another $500 or $600 on their merch. That's a backyard show, dude.
Yeah.
They came to a backyard show and made almost $1,000. That for me and for Wendy and Swing and everybody involved in that was worth it for us. The bands got paid. Everybody had a killer time. What more could you ask for from a show? You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are the great things. I think there's a core kind of folks that said music brings them joy, relief, something, get away from that bullshit 9 to 5 kind of thing, get away from whatever's dragging you down. And there's that core set of folks that are like, I seek that. Right. And there's the other folks that are like, we want to draw them in. We want to help them understand, right? This is here. And like I said, if you can chip in, great, awesome. Like I'm one, I have a t-shirt problem. I have some ridiculous number of t-shirts, and it really doesn't matter to me. Like I'm not that guy that's like, okay, I already have a t-shirt from you.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm seeing you at a new show. You have a new shirt. You've done new songs. You've done and most of the bands charge barely what they're paying for t-shirts, right? So I will buy a $20 t-shirt from you, right? Versus I spent and they like Kiss, right? When I saw Kiss on their 5-year We're Going Out tour, right? A t-shirt was $70 fucking dollars. It's a t-shirt.
Here comes the hate mail.
I mean, not against Kiss, right? But pick whomever, right? But $50, $60, $70 on a t-shirt, right? I can spend that t-shirt money, go see a band, buy a t-shirt from them, help them along, take a chance on those people I don't know. I have those same kind of friends that I just want to freaking throttle them sometimes. They're like, we'll be like, dude, you need to come to this show. And they're like, I don't know any of those people. I'm like, who the fuck cares?
You're
Right? You will have a good time.
Yeah.
And then when you leave, you'll be like, oh, that band there, I really like their stuff. Right. And now you've got something else to help you have a good time
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah.
Right. You can play their music and whatnot. Maybe I'm wired a little bit different, but I'm like, same kind of thing like Brad was saying. It's like, there's a point in time where you didn't know all the bands that you know now.
Right.
You didn't know them. You'd never heard them.
Right.
And maybe this local band is not going to become the next, Def Leppard, but it doesn't matter. They don't have to be. If you have a good time at the show, boom.
And you connect with them.
And
That's
you
always
connect
been
with
a big thing.
And there are so many people now that it's like, if you had told like 19-year-old me, like, you're going to be able to hold a conversation with this person, this person, this person. And then you're going to, even local bands that maybe not everybody in the world knows, but you're going to be no shit friends with these guys who play this stuff that makes you happy. I'd have been like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
And now look,
But it does. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, right, at the shows you guys do, no matter whether it's, a Baltimore show and a Baltimore band, you get to know those folks and you get to make that real connection. And I think that's one of the super cool things. You said, I'm not sitting in the nosebleed seats. It's like, same thing. We checked out those George Strait tickets, and the cheapest absolute bare minimum was like 500 and some bucks. We're like, a bitch. But even if we'd have spent $1,000 on George Strait, we'd have been so far away. We'd be like, hey, George. He doesn't know who the hell we are. Versus, right, a $40, $50 thing, and somebody gets off the stage. Man, I really enjoyed that. Thanks a lot. You can make that connection. You have a really great time. And you make tons and tons of friends. It's just, that's the other great thing is, like, we've got such a huge music family now that it's incredible.
Yeah. And the music family itself, I mean, if, we're sitting here, we're talking shop. I mean, this Sunday show we're talking about here is a perfect example. I mean, you're here, you invited us to come out on the show and talk about what we're doing. Guess what? You've been part of the music family with both of us for a long time. Mm-hmm. We've pulled Ken Shepper in Phoenix Productions. He's going to be helping us out with some of the promo stuff for the show. Again, music family, you know what I mean? Everybody knows him as being the t-shirt guy, but let me tell you something. He's been dabbling in a lot more. So there's some stuff. And I think that, some of the stuff that's going to come out of the weekend, you guys are going to see and go, wow, who did that? And, it's all about building the brands, not just our own. You know what I mean? It's like, we're all about bringing Jam Session Radio in. We're all about bringing Phoenix in, and they're helping us. We're helping them. It's a movement. You know what I mean? It really is. It's like the punk DIY movement. It's the same thing. We're just all a little bit more technologically advanced now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We have the means to be able to just pop on here and talk to a couple hundred people. And, that's priceless. And if we can share that with other people we know that are working within the industry, then why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? It's Brad said it years ago to me. He said, I'm sick and tired of everybody trying to go, for the whole little piece of pizza or a little piece of pie here. And, somebody's got a little piece of pie or he's like, we can all sit down at the same table and eat the whole damn pie. You know what I mean? We just have to, we have to have conversations. We have to, be very honest with ourselves and very honest with each other in what we're trying to do. And I think that's why this Sunday show, I think, is going to be a really good thing. People have said, you said at the beginning of the show, people said Brad and I a lot over the years. When are you and Brad going to do something together? You know what I mean? Because why? Because it fits. You know what I mean? You go to a Brad Lee show, you're feeling a certain way. You know what I mean? There's a certain vibe in a room. There's a certain thing going on. You come to a BBR show, it's the same thing. It's the same vibe. It's just a different medium. You know what I mean? But essentially, all one pie. This is I'm super stoked. I'm not going to speak for Brad, but I think he's pretty stoked about this too. Just not about the show, but just the fact that we get to finally kind of work together. And, you know, we've said a million times, we're both alphas. Anybody that knows either one of us knows we're both alpha males. And this is going to be the perfect example of, you know, when we say you got to work together, people are like, oh, I can't work with that guy. He's too much of this. Well, guess what? Like Brad said, we don't agree with everything that each other does and says, but we're alpha enough to say, you know what? This is for the better of the whole.
Right.
So let me, in this particular role, let me step back and let him handle it. You know what I mean? And vice versa. It's like there's things that we're each individually good at. So if you're going to be a typical or a stereotypical alpha with a hard ass head and want to control the ring, it's a circus. There ain't no control. It's an illusion anyway. But you know, if you can work with somebody and just understand where the strengths and weaknesses are, and Brad's really good at that, man. I've watched him over the years, whether it be personnel on his shows or just bands and things in general. He's very good at, if you don't know your role, he'll find a role for you. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. He'll find a way for you to fit in and do something that's part of the movement. But this Sunday show is going to be fun, man. We've been coming back and forth on some of the bands, and he's like, all right, fine, look, you pick two, I'll pick two. and we'll figure out the headliners as we kind of go along. And instead of just going and assuming, well, good, I get two, no matter what he thinks, it hasn't been like that. You know what I mean? He's got a band mention. He's like, hey, check this out. What do you think? These are the kind of things that make shows successful. When you have that open line of communication and you can talk through things. I mean, and so far, luckily, I haven't put up anything he hasn't liked, and he hasn't put up anything I didn't like. You know what I mean? So it's coming together nicely, man. And yeah.
When you're working together too, you gotta keep in mind, like, it's not just your business card on the flyer or on the show. Somebody else's, livelihood and creative passion and all that kind of stuff goes into it too. So, I mean, it takes a lot of growing as a man and an alpha, since you so eloquent that term, to humble yourself and to kind of be vulnerable and take the back seat when you're used to being in the driver's seat and that kind of thing, but
and that ain't easy to do.
But it's a testament to the brotherhood and the relationship to be able to trust that other person as well and know that they too have the best interest. I'd like to see more people doing this. I mean, I don't. Most people are going to tell you like they want to be the only show in town. Like, I want it to be a million fucking shows in town.
Right.
Right. I mean, I lived in Vegas for 3 years. There was fucking 100 choices every night, Monday through fucking Sunday. So, yeah. I mean, people have choices. They have choices for a reason. Capacity is what capacity is. So obviously everybody can't be the same fucking thing, but like I said, like, our main goal, create value for the consumer, make sure they have a safe place to enjoy themselves and have a good time, and not just give them a show, but like Will said earlier, give them an event and get them not a 3-ring circus or not a freak show with side tents and shit, but make sure that there's something for everybody there. Make sure that the people that are there feel like they got something for their money and they feel involved. You know what I mean? They have a decision or a say so. If people have a band in mind, welcome to send it to me and Will, and we're reachable. We're the type of people that you're not going to get our secretaries, you're going to get us. You know what I mean? You're not going to get, somebody saying, hold on, let me connect you, or they'll get back to you, and then we never get back. I'm not the best at getting back to people, I will admit, but you will get a response eventually. So, I mean, like, we look in, these different posts, and like, I'm not here to bash the festival or anything like that. Like, I've been a consumer at that festival for years. But one thing that I think that we do that I hang my hat on that I'm proud of is we're responsive to our clientele. If we see somebody post something or ask a question, we're going to be right there answering it. And I think that over the course of BLE, we did a pretty good job at that. I know Will does a pretty good job as well with Beautifully Broken. So if somebody puts something out there, or if somebody has a negative comment, we're going to figure out where it comes from and try and get to the bottom of it and resolve it. If somebody asks for a certain band, it's either, hey, if you cut the check, yeah, we'll book them. You know what I mean? I had somebody one time ask me when I was going to work with Foo Fighters. I'm like, whenever you cut the check.
Right, yeah.
I mean, like, I really don't think, and that's another thing, like I try and pull the curtain back as far as possible. I really don't think a lot of people have any idea what goes into booking in these events. Like how much blood, sweat, tears, and finances go into some of this stuff. Like, I mean, I had people before say they wanted to invest in the business, and they were like, yeah, I'll pay for the next show. Like I'll give you a check for $2,500 to pay for the next show. And I'm like, $2,500 don't even pay for the back line. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that I'm snarling at it or like saying that he's no good. It's not that. It's just like, it just goes to show you that people really have no idea what it takes. I mean, like, I'm not going to get into full schematics, but like a festival, like a 2-day festival, can run anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000 to, depending on what artist you book, could be more than that. I mean, I've seen it go up to $1 million for a weekend festival. I mean, it just depends on the talent. I mean, some of the Odds Fest from back in the day had staggering budgets. You know what I mean? So all the things that go into the riders and booking talent and securing the venue and making sure you have the right amount of security and the infrastructure and any little details like porta pots or stuff like that. I mean, all that stuff goes into who's paying for it.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's the one that everybody thinks is getting rich off these shows, which is the promoter or the talent buyer. And I'm here to tell you, like, I work hard as fuck. Like, I work a full-time job. There's been times where I work 2 or 3 full-time fucking jobs. I don't do this to make money, but I also can't do it to lose money anymore. I mean, we've both been in positions where we've damn near lost family over this. I've lost my health over it. I've lost finances over it. Like, that's why the whole Bradley Entertainment thing is no more. You know what I mean? It's now beyond live entertainment because that Bradley character is fucking done. You know what I mean? Like, it just, now we need to focus on the longevity and keeping the music around. Kind of more being like A&R, promoting, up and coming artists, and evolving in the industry. I mean, I hate to say it, and this isn't me talking bad about anybody that's still doing it from the 80s, but it's going to come a point in time. You know what I mean? Like, the Temptations are on their last leg.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean? So, there comes a time where it has to circle, and it has to be the next man up mentality or the next band up mentality, however you want to word that. But we have to evolve into something other than just nostalgic music for our clientele.
I am so with you on that. I think it's one of the things that has stood out for me for the shows that you guys have put on, right? Is like, hey, like I said, the very first event of Brad's that we went to was Sleazy Slimy 3. Again, we were late to the party. I don't know. We hadn't showered. Nobody wanted to fucking tell us about this stuff earlier. But when we finally found out about it, right, we literally were like, holy shit, right? This guy is getting up there and announcing the bands. I don't know about anybody else, right? But to me, if my venue is hosting an event, if the promoter or someone else from the band isn't already doing that, they haven't set that up, I'm going to put somebody up in front of that fucking stage and tell people, hey, please welcome whomever. Right. To me, I go to so many shows locally. So anybody in the Raleigh area, yeah, I'm fucking talking to you guys. Anybody in the Raleigh area, it's just like, hey, here's a show. We got 3 bands. It's like a band, a band, a band, and the band. Any band's going to self-introduce at some point, right? Later on in the show, hey, this is the drummer, this is whomever, right? But I think at a minimum, to show that venue respects those artists being there, right? There should be somebody come out and say that. And so that was one of the first things I was like, wait a minute. Like, I've been to, couldn't tell you how many freaking M3s beforehand, right? And nobody comes out. And if they come out,
they do now. They do now.
If they come out, today is hosted by
pay attention.
Pick whomever, right? And they fucking show up twice during the day. And it's like, were they the host of the day? They didn't host dick, right? I'm like, I'm sorry. You may be a decent individual, but I wouldn't pay your ass to host my shit to come out twice during the fucking day. Sorry. I just wouldn't. And you guys, each of you, right, come out beforehand. Hey, coming up next out of Philadelphia, Cream Circus. And those guys still, when I saw them at your show, but it's like, I was like, they're one of the bands, like, I'd listen to them.
Yeah.
Cool shit. but seeing them, I was like, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Amazing shit, right? And that's what you get from a live show. And you guys are way more involved than anybody, right? If you went up to 15 random people from M3 and said, "Tell me who puts on M3," they don't freaking know. You walk up into one of you guys' shows and say, "Point out who's putting on this show." Boom, right? That guy. You know, they know. You guys have always had an accountability that nobody else has, and maybe it's because they've grown to such a proportion that they don't think they need it or whatever. But I think that's always been one of the cool things. Is like, hey, these guys are here. Whether it's the giveaways like Will mentioned, or just coming out and saying, hey, right, when I introduce this band, they're coming here from Atlanta and da 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 da, and boom, and here's Kickin' Valentina or whomever, right? It's like it helps build that connection. I think that it's a whole personal thing to me, that it's just something that you guys do well that is lacking in a lot of places.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I feel seen now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's reasons why it's done, and there's reasons why it's not done on different levels. You know, sometimes I'm here to tell you, like, some of the Nationals is in the contract that they don't want nobody announcing. They just want to hit the stage. They are who they are. People, they feel, you know, people already know us. We don't need anybody to announce us.
Right.
And that's well and good, you know. But another thing that we've always done that not everybody sees, but I know Will saw it. Some people still talk about it. Will being one of them. But we have production meetings before everything's set up and before sound check and all that. And I kind of let the artists and the people that are volunteers know, like, hey, this is what to expect throughout the day. This is the set times. They're posted here, 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 and here. This is where the green room is. This is where you can get this, get that. If anything happens, it's who we need to contact. You know what I mean? And it sets the expectations and makes people feel comfortable. Bands travel to different places all the time during different venues, just about every day during travel time. So they're in unfamiliar territory in a very uncomfortable situation. Think of it as you're doing door-to-door house sales. You want somebody to buy your product, and every time you knock, you're pretty much at a stranger's doorstep, and you got to go in and sit in their living room and sing to them. I mean, it's a daunting task, you know what I mean? So to make, you know, the artists feel comfortable, the artists are just as important as anything else. I'm not going to say that the artists are more important. Some of them will probably say that the artist is the most important part. I've had agents tell me that they're the most important part. I've had fans tell me they're the most important part. And I've had promoters, they're the most important part. I'm telling you, man, if one link in that chain is broke, man, the whole thing fucking falls apart.
Right.
So as long as everybody does what they're expected to do in their role, you know what I mean, then everything's a fucking success. And stop trying to fucking overcomplicate it, man. This isn't fucking long division. You know what I mean? Like, have an honest conversation, whether it be a harsh, awkward conversation or whatever. Have the fucking conversation. Because then, and I don't like this word, but then expectations are set where they need to be. You know what I mean? And everybody knows, like, hey, this is a no bullshit event, and everybody's on their P's and Q's. I've had people that didn't want to do meet and greets before because they were like, no, it's unsecure here, and we're going to have people pulling at us. Trust me, the way we run the meet and greet lines and the way we run meet and greets, you'll be well taken care of. And I've had no artist complaints of meet and greets before. I've had, you know, people complain about the meet and greets that, you know, artist snubbed them or something like that. But I'm like, hey, what'd you do to that artist? You know, it's like the pit bull that bit the kid. They don't tell you about the kid sticking his finger in the pit bull's ass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
You know, that's the plugging on his ears. All right. Like that better. But yeah, that's the whole thing. You know, is you have to think about this stuff ahead of time. You have to kind of plan it out. And that's where I know, you know, Will's the same way. Like, it's a lot of sleepless nights that go into this because you're thinking at every angle, like, okay, well, if I do this, this happens. Well, if we plan it this way, this happens. Well, yeah, but I gotta get this person to this place, and this person needs this and that, and you know, what are we going to do about lodging, and what are we going to do about the riders, and who's supplying this, who's supplying that? Like, there's so much that goes into it, and people just look at it as like you're just throwing a party and people just show up magically. It doesn't work that way. And I'm by no means complaining because I chose to do this. but I chose to do it for a very specific reason. And I just want, just like we care that people are spending their hard-earned money to come to our events, on the other side of the coin, the people who are spending their money to come to these events need to also take into account the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it on our end as well.
Oh yeah.
So.
I don't know how much time you got on the live part of here, Jim, but let's talk the weekend as far as those go. Let's touch on some things if we can.
Everybody showed up for, now that we kept them for an hour talking about.
It'll be all right. So
fast forward to the last 10 minutes.
No, don't tell them. There's a lot of information in here they need to hear, and I didn't do a fast forward.
Right.
So the Thursday night at the studio. Let's start there.
Right. Yeah. Studio
I
E.
think what we decided to do on Thursday night, and it's not set in stone yet, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some of the artists from the Friday afternoon show, the Friday night show, if they want to be, and the Sunday show, and kind of do a storytellers with those band members. There'll probably be some acoustic playing and some things. What we're gonna do is we're gonna actually record that. We're gonna tape it as basically a live audience podcast. So it'll be something that we'll tape. We'll go ahead and edit. It'll be released after the fact.
Right.
But we're gonna offer some things as far as people being there. This is going to be a pretty much an invite type show. Essentially, Brad and I are going to get together. We're going to come up with a core because, my studio is not large. It's small. So there's going to be a very short number of tickets going on for that. So that'll be done as kind of an invite. And then after the invites, if there's tickets left over, then obviously we can release that as well. So that's just give you the basic idea of the Thursday night. Friday afternoon, Fishhead Cantina and a rockin' sushi bar. Don't let the name fool you.
They got good food there, man. They got good food.
Sushi is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm a sushi guy. I'm telling you, for bar sushi, it's right up there with a lot of sushi restaurants I go to. It's amazing.
So they've been gracious enough when I started this. This is the 4th year. So when I started it 4 years ago, Mike and his staff have been absolutely amazing, letting me come back year after year at noon on a Friday afternoon. You know what I mean? And it's working out again this year. I did announce one band for that show, which you will find out here shortly. Is a bit of a thing. But one of the other bands that I did out of that show is Liquid Lucky. They are coming back for their second appearance on the Gathering. They're stoked. They're gonna have a good time. The other bands, I'll let you guys know about that later. Friday night, the standard, the M pre-party that Dave Dillman puts on with Detox. And we've all said it already. You can't say enough. A lot of us met at that show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Before even going to M3. Because that was always the party to go to. I didn't find out about Dave's pre-show until 2015. That was and actually, it's funny because we joke about it all the time. That was the first year where I actually went and there was people there that I had met and I knew. It's like I'd been going for years by myself or maybe with one friend,
Right. Yeah.
2015. Let's throw some props out to M3 Rockers. That group tied so many of us together, man. And
still does. Continues to.
Yep. Yeah, it continues to. Yeah. And Dave's pre-party was huge in my M3 world. So that's going to go on as per plan. Saturday, like you said, M3 one day. Hey, we're going, we're hanging out. I might spend most of my day on the lot, but whatever. I'll get in there at some point. You know
the epic tailgate. You and Swing and Wendy started that whole breakfast thing. It's like
Wendy started the breakfast thing. She's like, we can't have people showing up early and not feed them.
We have to feed them. I'm a Southern girl. We have to feed them.
Okay. So that's always going to be a huge fun. But Sunday, let's talk about Sunday. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. So I'll go ahead and we'll start with the venue. The venue is the same place that I do the pre-gathering at. This is going to be at Fishhead Cantina and Rockin' Sushi Bar. It's in Halethorpe, Relay, Arbutus, Maryland.
Arbutus.
You show up to the other cantina because we've done shows at the other cantina before, and people have showed up to the other cantina.
Yeah.
Go to Halethorpe, Benson Avenue,
Right.
Rockin' Sushi Bar.
If they don't have a sushi bar, you're in the wrong place.
If they don't have
exactly.
you're in the wrong place. So.
Exactly. So Mike and Brad and I went to talk to Mike, the guy that runs Fish Head, and we had a sit down with him last week before, and he was like, "You guys want to do what?" And immediately went from that to, "Okay, what do you need?" Again, they've been super, super awesome and accommodating with my shows there. This is just another extension of the family, and Mike's known Brad. Brad and Mike have been wanting to kind of put something together at Fish Head for a while, and it just, things just didn't work out. So this is kind of a really cool thing. Me, Brad, hooking up and doing this together, doing it at Fish Head where, everybody knows, all parties know each other. This is really good. It's not like one of us had the venue and we're bringing somebody else, the other person in and doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You have all three parties here knowing, it makes things so much easier. But that's going to be what do we decide on that? That is a 1 o'clock door.
1 o'clock door, probably 2 o'clock music.
Correct.
That's what we're looking at right now. We probably should go into the details of after 9 p.m. It becomes a 21 and over.
Right.
It is all ages from the time the doors open up until 9 p.m. So I want to make that clear. Anybody that's traveling with youngsters or teenagers, you're welcome to bring them to our event. We hope to, what you say, Will, 7, 8 o'clock, probably 8 o'clock, have everything over so they can make the transition to 9 o'clock without having any security issues or anything of that sort. Make sure that anybody that's underage is out before 9.
Yep.
And they are open till midnight that night. So stay tuned. There might be a little after party news as well.
Hey.
You want to party the night away from 9 to 12. Might be a little bit of a extracurricular after party after.
Yeah. Definitely that is definitely in the works. So it's going to be 5 bands, 4 local regional, meaning in the general regional area. That headliner spot, we're gonna keep you all a little locked in there for a while. There's some details with that headline spot that we still have to work out and make sure schedules are still going to work out the way they should be. But those first 4 bands, I'm telling you now, the ticket price alone with just those 4 bands would be sufficient. The fact that we're throwing somebody else on there that maybe you wouldn't get a chance to see is the bonus. You know what I mean? It's we've got some really good bands. 3 of them we can tell you about. The other 2, obviously, we can't because we're not locked in just yet. Are we? No, we got 3 of the, or do we have 4, Brad?
3. I got the 1. You got the 2.
Okay.
Headliner, hopefully by the end of the week, the headliner will be secured. One of the people we reached out to, the dates didn't work. The dates didn't jive, which I'm really a little upset about. But maybe in the summertime we can make something work with them. I'll tell you offline who that is. Yeah. So those of you who've been following Facebook and Facebook Reels, you're in for a treat over the summer. But we're not here to talk about the summer.
Right. First weekend of May, Sunday.
So yeah, I mean, Will, you have 2 right now, right? I have the 1.
Yep.
Still searching out, filling out that other 1. I have reached out to a band. The band that I have reached out to, if they do accept, this will be their first show as this band. And
they're good, y'all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping it works out. But I'm waiting to hear back from them. So I don't have a definite from them yet. Like I said, the headliner should be by the end of the week. But Will, if we want to announce those 3, we can probably announce those 3 right now. Your 2 and my 1 that we have locked down. So
all right, I'll start it. We'll go back and forth, each get 1 here. So first band I'm going to announce is the band that I had previously already announced for the Friday afternoon show. Has now been, we flipped gears. the only reason that made me do this is this band just it fits really well. So I mean, for those that know, I had announced Thrill Ride was coming back for my pre-show. We have now sent them over to the Sunday show, giving them a little bit more set time. Obviously, they're local. Jim, you've heard them. You've played them on your station.
Oh yeah, Denny's great. Yeah,
yeah, they're a great bunch of guys. They're a great bunch of musicians. They have tapped into a lot of that emotion and feel from the 80s. Again, with adding that kind of a little bit of a modern twist to it, but just right in the wheelhouse. You know, for people that haven't been able to get out to my early pre-show in the last couple of years, you know, Denny and the boys have played it before. They're amazing. And that was my kind of thought process of wanting to get them on the Sunday show, because some people just don't come in early enough on Friday. And,
right.
you know, they come in early enough to get checked in, do Dave's pre-show, and go on with their weekend. And sometimes, and I get it, totally get it. But this was an opportunity for me to be able to shift them to a bigger show, so to speak. You know what I mean? Chance to be, you know, seen by a lot more people.
Yeah, a little more exposure.
That are hanging out on a Sunday. So Denny and Steve and Donald all agreed. They were like, "Yep, absolutely, we'll do it." So that was my first band, and so Thrill Ride is definitely on the bill for Sunday, May 3rd. Mr. Brad, you want to go to the second one?
Yeah. So one of the bands that I spoke to Will about, and Will speaks highly about them as well. It's kind of like a full circle moment. Anybody that was going to our events back when we had the Ballroom Blitz that got rescheduled to, which turned into be a masquerade prior to the pandemic. It was Ballroom Blitz. We announced bands, then we switched over to Masquerade. This band was actually on Ballroom Blitz. Could not make the date for Masquerade, so they were removed from the bill for Masquerade. Luckily enough, they're good friends of mine and Will's. So I reached out to them, and they're able to perform for us on Sunday, May 3rd. And that is Race the Rat. And I'm very, very happy to have Race the Rat as a part of this bill. I think aesthetically and musically, they fit perfect with what we're trying to accomplish for that weekend. Skins is already going to be performing with American Jet Set at Dave Dillman's and pre-party. So anybody that wants to see, you know, a different side of that, Race the Rat is going to be, you know, a different kind of band. Still both great, you know, not taking anything away from either one, but totally different sound from American Jet Set. So definitely get in front of Race the Rat. They have some new material they're working on right now, new album in the works coming out soon. So definitely get in front of them. Again, if you're not from this area, it's probably one of those bands where you're like, who? But again, as we said earlier, we told you to fast forward to the last 10 minutes. Now we're telling you to rewind back about a half an hour.
The backstory.
Figure out exactly what we're talking about here, because if it's a band that you've never seen before, you want to get in front of these guys. You want to get in front of all of them. I mean, this whole weekend, I mean, I would venture to say that from my musical taste, and this isn't me knocking on Tom Kiefer. Trust me, I love Tom Kiefer. But I'm almost more excited about the pre-parties than I am about the fest. Simple reason is, like, I love all those artists that M3 brings, but I've seen them so many different times. And being able to see these independent artists, if you will, they bring a little bit of different artistry to the table and a different passion level. Seeing them perform live, they perform in a totally different atmosphere. You know, we've seen so many artists that it's the same set list over and over, or it's the same stage, you know, presence over and over, same movements over and over, same, you know, sell over and over, same. They send you to the merch stand the same way every time, for Christ's sake.
Right.
I mean, this is something very different and very organic. And it's like Will said earlier, it's true to the Baltimore roots. You want to get in front of some of these bands, trust me, you will not be disappointed. Yeah.
Those guys got a great brand new song out, Pray, Hustle, and Shake. And that was one of our jams of the week. Killer stuff there. Killer stuff from those.
Not necessarily in that order, but yeah.
However you get to it, right? Sometimes
when you get there, get those three things done.
Right.
Especially on eat your vitamins. You know what I mean? Like you have to. You have to do it.
Get those Flintstone vitamins. Pop 2 Bettys and a Wilma, and get on going. Right.
And the thing with Race the Rat too is, we were talking earlier about there's a certain sound that true Baltimore hard rock bands have.
That's it.
Race the Rat.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, they've had it. They've stayed in that zone. But just like Brad, I'm gonna praise on one guy here. Skins, man, that guy's tone is Baltimore. Every band he's ever played in, he's one of those guitar players. You hear it. It doesn't matter if you've ever heard that song before. You know who it is. You know who that is playing the guitar. He's very distinct in his sound, both with Jet Set and with Race the Rat. So, I mean, it's definitely two different worlds musically, but that sound, his staple is in there. And Race the Rat is definitely going to fit this bill for this weekend. Again, like he said, lining up with the themes of things. And having said that, I'll go with my number 2. And again, these bands, for people that know me and know Brad, they're not really that big of a surprise. But, band number 3 for me is something special. It's a band I started working with 5 years ago. Started bringing them down into this area 5 years ago, and finally developed a nice little local following down here. From Philly's a different world musically, as far as clubs go and all the things go. It's a different. The music's there's a lot of similarities, but the scenes are different. You know what I mean? And anytime you can bring a band in from an outside area and get people in this area or in this market to go, wow, yeah, hell yeah. So again, if you've missed them the last couple of years on Dave's pre-party, if you've missed them on any shows I've done over the years, you're not going to miss them this year. On that Sunday show, along with Thrill Ride, along with Race the Rat, Philly, South Jersey, Rat Rod. These guys are proven. They've always been proven. They get up, they give you a show. They give you energy.
Oh my God, yeah.
They give it all to you. I mean, you got Wild Man Ass Mark running around, jumping up on bar stools, you know what I mean, in the middle of the set. You've got a front man that is now the way they're set now. And this is not saying anything bad about the stuff they've put out in the past. I think all the things that they did prior were awesome. I think Jeremy Hugo now having that vocal and now him having been there for a year or two, or 2-3 years now, has really solidified that spot for himself in that band. And again, because of the region, they also have that Baltimore-based blues, hard rock, guitar-driven sound. Some people throw it out there and, they compare it to AC/DC. And yes, those comparisons are there. So many bands that got popular even after AC/DC based what they did on those regular blues scales. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's something to be said about it. It's chemistry. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Rat Rod didn't break or had to fix anything. They just evolved into the band that they currently are now. And I've been super proud of those guys for a long time. Everybody that knows me knows my love for that band runs deep. And I'm super stoked. I was trying to get them originally. I was like, so you guys done doing the pre-party things? You've done it 3 years. Do you want to do it again? And they were like, it becomes an issue with work on a Friday. So it was literally 2 weeks later when we came up with this. I called them back and I said, so what about a Sunday show?
So what's your weekend look like? Right.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's again, these bands too, some people don't even get in for any of the pre-party stuff over the years. So bands like Rat Rod, there's a lot of people that haven't seen them. I'm sure they heard because they don't disappoint. But this is another opportunity now for people that are willing to stay the weekend. You're going to catch a couple of bands that have played the pre-parties and different things around the time frame that you didn't get to see. Now you're going to get to see them. And again, longer set, full energy. They don't ever disappoint. I'm sorry. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but I swear, man, that band, every time I've seen them, I've got so much live video over the years that I've taken on my phone from them. I could put my own live album together. You know what I mean? It's like the phone's full of stuff that's Rat Rod related. And I've watched that climb, you know what I mean? And I don't see it being a pinnacle. I still see them going up. You know what I mean? Because of the direction now that music is kind of gone. Again, the music itself isn't any different, but you add a different vocal and it changes things.
There's a maturity is not the right word, but there's a.
I think that's the right word, probably.
There's definitely an evolution, right, in the overall sound. And Jeremy on vocals, terrific move on their part. And like you said, you know, with the other guys in there, it's just a machine. And it's good. It's good to see those guys again, right? That's one of the other cool parts is like Brad touched on earlier. There are certain artists. It's like, okay, I've seen that artist I don't know how many times, and oh yeah, by the way, that artist is on tour, so you know it's the shit. I'm going to see them at M3, and then they're going to be playing 10 miles from my house, right? 2 weeks later, and it's like, but these guys, right, getting up here to see, you know, the folks in Thrill Ride and you know, Race the Rat. And I don't get to see that all the time, right? When I make the effort to travel, I want to see folks that I don't get to see. I love this stuff.
Right. It's a lot of thought has gone into this. Just like Brad said, a lot of thought goes into every show that he does or I do. It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of things that weigh on your mind. You know, you sometimes you sit around and just wait for that pin to drop. You know what I mean? Where like you've got everything in place and it's all set and you're getting ready to make some major announcement and then you get a phone call and it shatters everything.
Yeah.
So now you got to
write a fucking book, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
You know, I can only imagine. Okay. I can only imagine. I've been trying to put a little something together, just a little minor little thing. And I'm like, how does anybody ever schedule anything? I can't figure it the fuck out. Right.
Look, the business of rock and roll, I found this out when I was down and out with the Big C a couple years ago. The business of rock and roll, I swear, it's done between the hours of 10 o'clock at night and 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that people don't see. You need to have a conversation with an artist. Okay. Well, they're not available till 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
They're playing a gig somewhere. They're getting off stage and they're going to call you because that's their window.
Right.
Well, guess what, big guy? You're tired, but you ain't going to bed. It's just, you know what I mean? That's the way it works. It's
scheduling. Like you said, scheduling and try to, you know, it's like I'm trying to get two people together, and it's like I gotta find a spot where these two people can be together at the same time. It's like,
you got to also understand too. Dealing with musicians is a lot like herding cats. It's you try all you might. You know what I mean? The cat's still going to do whatever it's going to do.
Yeah. And on the flip side, right? It's not all the musicians like, you know, one of the two entities, they're like, hey, there's potentially something going on here. And we're waiting on somebody else, right? To figure out whether that shit's, you know, lined up. And it's like,
that's what it is. I mean, it's a waiting game. You know what I mean? It's like you can do your due diligence all you want, send all the emails you want. I mean, you still got to wait for that response email. You still got to wait for them to talk to whoever they got to talk to. Right. Some of them work with agents. Some of them work solo. Some of them got to check with all the members of the band. And members of the band got to check with their wives and yada, yada, make sure you got soccer practice or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? But, I mean, like, I know how it works. I've been in logistics for 25 years. That's what I do for, you know, my regular job. But, I mean, it's like trying to organize this shit, man. It's like, it's crazy. Because, like I said, like, if it was as simple as a phone call, like, hey, you want this gig? Here's the particulars. Sure, send it over in a formal. Send it over, boom. Got to answer back in 15 minutes. Nah, I got to check with management. Then I got to check with, you know, booking. Then I got to check with this, check with that. And then I got to logistically make sure I can get a flight on time. Make sure it's not overpriced, because then the price of the flight throws your budget. And like, all that shit's got to be taken into account. Right. You send the tech rider over and they want a special amp that they're not flying with that you got to supply, and then you got to track that down. And this is like, And something like that, I mean, if it's something that's marked as a must on their rider, that can nix the whole deal right there if you can't obtain it. Yeah. You know, so I mean, like, it's a lot of moving pieces. You know what I mean? So to put something together, and then the whole thing is like you need all these yeses confirmed before you can move forward, and you want to have at least 2-3 months to promote properly, so you can get the most people that you can to come to the event. You know what I mean? Make sure people are aware of it. You know, so I mean, it's a process, man. But I mean, like festivals like M3 and some of these other festivals, I mean, if M3 is May the 2nd, May the 3rd, they're preparing for next year already. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times it takes a whole year to plan something out like that. You know, I mean, It's
We're
just
actually
pieces.
we actually screwed ourselves having to talk about this show. We should have been having it 6 months ago. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things. I think fortunately enough that we know enough people here locally that we can do a show spot like this and say, okay, in 2 months, have it wrapped up, done, and ready to go. And again, I think that's a testament too of who we work with, bands and all the other agencies. It's it makes things a lot easier when you know a band going into it, whether it's a national or local, when you know them enough to know,
relationship.
yeah, and you know what they like and what they don't like, and knowing all that ahead of time is pretty important. It really is.
Having a proper reputation and the way you get that, whether it's good or bad, reputation, good or bad, you earned it. You know what I mean? So it's like how you treat people has a lot to do with it. And Bo touched on it earlier. You touched on it earlier. The way that you treat your artists, like, yeah, we're hiring an artist. Yeah, they work for us because we're hiring them. But at the same point in time, they're still human. Like you have to treat them accordingly. And like, it's not, and forgive me for this term, but it's not a dick measuring contest. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that. Like you have to treat these people as business associates. You have to go into it with the mind frame that you're all trying to accomplish the same goal. And we've said it 100 times during this podcast. Like, you have to have those honest conversations. You have to set expectations. You know what I mean? And you have to be workable. You have to be flexible. You can't be rigid. You have to be able to negotiate. All these things are tools that you have to have that, a lot of it might not be realized, but that's a lot of what goes into putting on these events. Like it has to be work. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to organize a festival. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like, oh, that's so awesome. Like you put on concerts. That's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, how can I do that? Like,
Right. And yeah, you might not be, be careful what you wish for. Yeah.
I'll give you a funny story. All right. And I'm going to leave the name out of it because he might be watching or whatever. But so I got a call from a guy in Baltimore, right? This is when House of Rock was open. For those
on Route 40.
Yeah. So, which is for lease, by the way. So at that time, they were bringing a lot of artists. Y&T played there. XYZ played there. Faster Pussycat numerous times. Funny Money played there a whole bunch. You know what I mean? So they're having who's who of anybody there. So this guy calls me. He's a concert goer in the area. He goes to a shit ton of concerts, right? So he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I just want to pick your brain about something." He was like, "I'm thinking about booking a show and promoting a show at House of Rock." He was like, and we got to talking about artists, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna bring Danger, right?" And then he was like, and he said some other artists. I forget who the other one was. Maybe it was like Bullet Boys or Jet Boys, something like that, right? So he was like, I figured I'd give him a call. He's like, I'm gonna offer him like $1,500. I said, you got a problem. He said, what's the problem? I said, number one, the venue's probably gonna charge you $1,500. Yeah. Number one. Number two, Danger, like half of the band is from fucking they live in another country, dude. You know this shit? Like they I said, and then another thing, like their guarantee is probably 6 or 7 times that at best. You know what I mean? And that's if they don't have to do a single only flying. Like that's if they're routed. You know what I mean? So, and then you're adding another band, Jet Boy. They're probably a couple thousand. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to put hard numbers out there, but these bands ain't $500, $600.
Right.
Which is still nothing to sneeze at. You know what I mean? You're coming out of pocket for that if people don't show up and buy tickets. Needless to say, that phone call conversation lasted about another minute and 30 seconds. And the show never happened, obviously. But I mean, that kind of gives you an idea about like how people think about it. Like it's just it's not like that, dude. Like no.
I'm just gonna call some people and everybody's gonna show up and it's gonna be wonderful.
Nope. I mean, I could call people up right now and tell them I'm having a barbecue next weekend and fucking it's free food and free drinks and still won't have a ton of people show up.
Right.
You think somebody's gonna show up for a $45 ticket just on a whim? You know what I mean? A $30 ticket, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So like you really have to be specific about the audience you target. You know what I mean? And target's a harsh word because that sounds like you're trying to, hook and crook them. But the people that see your posts and the people that you're reaching out to, and I mean, I've sent personal invites before, like, hey, like I have this going on. I don't know if you saw it in your thread or not, but I have this going on. I'd love for you to be there. I know you support this kind of music. You know what I mean? Like, here's a ticket link. You know what I mean? Speaking of ticket link, tickets for this event are going to be available through Eventbrite. Is that correct?
Yeah, that'll be through Eventbrite, through the ticketed window that Fishhead uses, which will be up pretty shortly. We're basically just waiting on some artwork. We're going to put the ticket link up and open it before we even print the bands that are out on it. I mean, that's why I kind of were giving you a little inside today and giving you a couple of the bands. So the link will be up before everything's even been announced. So that, because we know guys like yourself, you and Christine, and Kenny Myers and guys like that are going to be like, I don't care who you got, I'm buying the damn ticket.
Tell me where to get the ticket. Yeah.
So it's
already said, tell me where you want the money sent to.
Yes, it's
so,
crazy.
So yeah, I mean, like, we're waiting on Chris Clark right now. Chris does a lot of our graphics mutually.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on him right now. He sent a couple things over today that I'll forward over to you, so you can see. Just kind of the starting phase of it. I will tell you that the name that we've decided on for the Sunday show is
the Sunday Sermon.
The Sunday
is what we're calling it.
So I don't want anybody to get scared or think that there's going to be, any kind of official sermon or baptisms or anything going on. Is and if I can speak candidly, it's it's not secret. Will and I are both, on different paths in our life than we were years ago. It's always been there for both of us, but we're both on different paths. So Sunday sermon is something that we came up with just kind of tongue in cheek, just kind of, get people thinking. But at the same time, it always gives glory. You know what I mean? And that's what we want to make sure that we do going forward. It's a big part of both of our lives. So we want to make sure that we do that. So you might see some light imagery. You might see some dark imagery. But ultimately, that's what this is about. So we want to bring everybody together in unity for the celebration of music, celebration of a great weekend, and seeing some familiar faces again in front of our music family again, because quite frankly, it's been too fucking long.
It has. Oh yeah, it has.
And we did set a ticket price at that. It's going to be $45. And again, that's getting you in 1:00 in the doors. Show will be wrapped up around 8. Again, we'll let you know about the after party festivities. That I think it's a pretty good chance of that happening. I think that's almost a given. We've talked about it a little bit, but there's ample parking at Fishhead for anybody that hasn't been there. Ample parking, especially on a Sunday. They excellent food, excellent staff, hands down great people. There won't be any problems. This isn't the kind of show. If you've never been to a BLE show and you've never been to a BBR show, there's no fighting. There's no drunken idiots. You know what I mean? There's none of that. I mean, if you look at M3 Weekend completely, truthfully, all the events that go on around M3 Weekend, yeah, there's people drinking and getting, cutting loose and having a good time, but nobody's fighting. And, there's none of that drama. You know what I mean? It just doesn't exist in the environment that we present. You know what I mean? And this is just another venue that's just really cool. Allow us to do what we want to do, very flexible with us. And let's face it, who doesn't want to open up their venue to a bunch of bands and the potential couple hundred people on a Sunday when you wouldn't be doing anything anyway? You know what I mean? So it's again, we're helping the bar out. They're helping us out. It's hand washing hand. You know what I mean? And Sunday sermon is also a play on, like Brad said, we got the Sunday sermon thing. Honestly, when him and I talked about the name, it was like the first thing he's like, why that? And I said, because, we want to give praise where we think it goes. Without that, we don't do what we do. But the other thing was the famous line of, people get partying on Saturday, show up at church on Sunday morning. You know what I mean? So it was, we kind of had that play on it too with the Sunday sermon. It's like, okay, here's a little hair of the dog for you boys and girls. You know what I mean?
Whatever you do Saturday night, show up Sunday, you can wash it all off.
There you go.
So that's the theme. Come hang with us on Sunday. Get your last little fix in, and then maybe repent a little bit from your weekend and move on down with your week.
I think that's going to be awesome. That's going to be an awesome bookend to an absolutely killer weekend. So 3 bands we know so far: Thrill Ride, Race the Rat, Rat Rod, another band, and a headliner in the works.
Yep.
You hear his long pause, like he was trying to get more out of us. Did you hear
He
that?
did pause. That was a very calculated pause.
Hey, at this point, I got to tell you, right? At this point, if my Facebook post even had a 2% influence, right, on this coming down, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it a shot,
It's
right?
much higher
You never
than
know, right?
I'll tell you. Like you two are probably about running 50-50 right now. So like you threw the lasso out there and he tied it around my neck.
I mean, it's like it wasn't like completely overt. I'm just like, this is what this day fucking needs, right? This is what right here. It goes right here. And I think that's the cool thing. Like you're saying, people can approach you about, hey, either of you, right? Hey, at your next event, think about this band, think about whatever. And
we get that a lot.
Can happen,
Yeah,
it
we
can
get
happen,
that a lot.
I
know I do. I mean, I'm sure Brad does too. And that's the thing. It's like, number one, we're accessible. We make ourselves accessible to everybody. And 2, we listen to if you come up with something and it's not a crackpot idea, you know what I mean? If it's doable and it's feasible, yeah, we look at that. We don't turn that away and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. If there's a good, viable idea there, shit, we'll run with it, man. And just, I think the availability is key with Brad and I both. It's if somebody has a question, they reach out. Like he said, it may not be 5 seconds later, but we're going to get to you, and it's going to be me or him that you're talking to. It's not going to be an AI service. It's not going to be like you said, your secretary or anything like that. I mean, would we love it to have secretaries one day? Sure, that'd be great. The wives can quit doing whatever they're doing and just come work for us. Although I don't know how that'll go over, but
yeah, you never know.
I can get you an answer for that right now.
Well, I am looking forward to it. As always, if there's absolutely anything that I can do personally, that Jam Session Radio can do to help out, we are in. I told Brad when we were texting, I'm in 1,000%. So this is an awesome, like I said, an awesome bookend, an awesome way to spend some time with your family, a little bit more time, a little bit more intimate venue, and have some good food, right? The food at Fishhead blows away the food at Merriweather.
It does.
Anytime. And so folks, be on the lookout for ticket link coming soon. Eventbrite, going to be a good show. Make sure you join us, follow along, stay on jamsessionradio.com's page. We'll be promoting the hell out of it. M3 Rockers, as we threw it out to them. Those guys have been amazing. An incredible group of folks, bunch of folks out there in lot 5, before the show all the time. And I even use that to talk about the sermon, right? I'll be walking through preaching. Hey, you going tomorrow? You going tomorrow? Right?
That's what we're talking about, right? There.
We'll throw out some pocket Bibles like Striper. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think I can have Amazon deliver that in time. I think we could do that.
I thank you guys for joining me tonight, for selecting me to be the one to premiere the announcement. And
we're gonna have some radio spots coming to you as well too that you can air if you don't mind.
Not at all.
We'll probably be back. I mean, if you want to have us back, what
hell
I mean?
Yeah.
Just have us back anytime you want to talk. Anytime your clientele wants to hear from us, just summon us. Throw the bat signal up or put a S3 post up on.
Summoning the S3. Yeah. We made the call, right? It's like, shit, there goes Jim again. What the hell is he doing this time?
In all seriousness, man, Jim, it's been a pleasure to get to know you over the years. I appreciate you having us on here. It's not just a blessing to be on your show, but it's a blessing for the previous experience that we've had with you and kindling our friendship. And it blossoming into what is now this music network. And Will, man, I can't say enough, man. I mean, I really feel honored working with you on this. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity of what this can bring and maybe bring some other opportunities in the future. So let's knock this one out the park. and not only do it for everybody watching right now, but do it for those that don't even know about us yet, and put Maryland music back on the fucking map, because this Mid-Atlantic region is a hotbed.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Not just Maryland, it's North Carolina, it's Virginia, it's New Jersey, you know what I mean? It's New York. So let's do what needs to be done to get this music scene back to where it needs to go. And if it needs to evolve somewhere, let's have our hands in it. So,
And since he said it, I got to go back at him because I can't have him one up me or anything. But again, I'm totally looking forward to this show in particular, just because it's our first one that we've actually kind of got together and coordinated on. And for those that don't know, I've always looked at Brad as a mentor, because he was doing things already. When I was trying to get myself involved locally, he's one of the catalysts for what I do. So, brother, thank you as always for just, not for just giving me your expertise, but, for giving me your heart and being my friend and being a part of my life and being a part of my family's life. And I know that goes both ways. And I can't, it's long overdue that we're doing this.
it is.
And I do believe it can lead to some other things as well in the future. And I look forward to it, brother. And as much as, I hope people that are seeing this understand, there's been times over the years where he and I both have heard the rumors, oh, well, Bill and Brad, oh no, there's friction or this, that. And there's never been, there's literally never been any kind of friction. And that's why I tell you how much I respect him, because it's always been that way. You know what I mean? There's never been a time where we looked at each other and said, oh, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? It wasn't, we may have thought all this shit about each other, but it wasn't that. You know what I mean? There's always been that mutual respect.
Get in front of each other, being able to have those conversations. And like I said, man, people ain't going to agree on everything, but it's how you talk about it, how you discuss it. And like, hey, I don't feel this way. I know you feel this way. Educate me. You know what I mean? Insight to why you feel that way. And that doesn't just apply to music or mine, your brotherhood or relationship. A lot of people can learn from that. A lot of this hatred and shit that we're seeing on social media, it don't have to be that way. And a lot of people are going to, hide behind the screens or behind the keyboard. When you get out to see them, a lot of people are just, good people. You know what I mean? It's just for whatever reason they're having a moment. But one thing I'll say is once you put it out there, you can't erase it, because that screenshot button ain't but a button away.
Yeah.
I've had to learn the hard way sometimes too. So
Me too.
like I said, that's a whole nother topic. But like I said, the only other person that will probably be able to bring me out in this way is maybe Dave Dillman, as far as promoters go in the Maryland region. But I'm glad I got an opportunity to do this with you. And, with all luck, maybe you guys will see a Dave Dillman appearance on Sunday, gracing us with his presence. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it'll be a thing to get all of us together,
Yeah, we've talked about that, Brad and I. We would definitely love, to have him come out and hang out. You know what I mean? And we want to pay homage to everybody that was in front of us. I pay homage to Brad because he was in front of me. He pays homage to Dave. I pay homage to Dave because he was in front of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all part of it. So it's one weekend where we want total harmony. We just want total harmony, man. Everybody's in this for the right reasons. As far as if we're talking the three main parties, me, Brad, Dave, we're all in it for the right reasons. We all got in it for the right reasons. We're all still in it for the right reasons. And, doesn't matter that I've only been here X amount of years and Brad's only been here X amount of years and Dave's been here more than both of us. We all are goal oriented in that local music and in that scene. There's no reason why we can't all show that side of it of ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being able to just love on one another and say, man, thanks for doing what you do. And no, thanks for doing what you do. So again, dude, this is just going to be the sermon is literally the end of the weekend, full of love. It's the last chance for everybody to hang out, say their goodbyes, tell them you love them, and go on with your lives. But for this weekend, it had to be every day. One day wasn't doing it. This festival has brought so much love and light into people's lives, man. We had to get involved with all this, and that's why we're doing it. And again, I love you to death, Brad, and I'm super stoked about this, bro.
I love you back, brother. All right.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
it so much. Thank you for the time. To anybody who has stayed on this long and listened to us, we greatly appreciate it.
We
So
do.
thank you very much for your love and support over the years. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming. All right.
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Thank
Love
you to everybody that watched, everybody that listened on Jam Session Radio, everybody that might have had their Alexa. Did you know you can tell your Alexa, hey, Alexa, wake me up to Jam Session Radio every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And you'll hear me every Wednesday. Well, every Wednesday that I'm here, but it's cool shit.
Don't
So-
ask her to get naked. You don't want to hear the response.
I'm going to have to go damn try that now later on afterward. See what happens. Maybe after the wife goes to bed. I don't know. Okay. You never know. We got that new Alexa. Who knows what that bitch does? So, don't know. Anyway, thank you guys. Love you both. Looking
Love you,
forward
Jim.
to seeing more. Thanks everybody that joined. We'll be back here next Wednesday night for Jam Session Live. Till then, crank it up and let's jam.
And we're still here.